All right, Principal Ross, we are live. Good morning, everybody. This is Coffee with the Principal. Good morning, Principal Ross. How are
Good.
you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We have four people online. If you can give us a thumbs up that you can hear us, that would be appreciated. This morning, Principal Ross is going to chat about the educational fields, some general topics, and what are we going to? Oh, if you have a specific question for him, go ahead and leave it in the comments. We will get to those as they come in.
Yes.
So, what's happening in education, Principal Ross?
Good question. There's always something happening, but I think this morning I want to talk about something that's kind of big. And I'm not just addressing Apprentice Academy. I'm just talking about education in general across the nation, and with this COVID world we live in. Let's talk about something in the education world. It's called SEL, social emotional learning, but really what is talking about mental health. That's the mental health of staff, students, families, everybody. And under any normal circumstance, it's hard enough, but you put COVID in there and the crazy educational environment we're living in, it just compounds it. So, and especially given this is this month, September is Suicide Prevention Month. I figured, hey, this is probably pretty good topic to talk about today, because I think we're gonna probably have a couple of coffee talks during the month. One is going to be like a general topic like this one, and then one is going to be more specific to happenings at Apprentice Academy that I'll talk about a little later on. So, but of course, anyone who's watching, if you have specific questions, it doesn't make a difference whether it's about this topic or any other topic. I'll be happy to do my best to answer the question. So. I feel, so let's talk about what this social emotional learning is about. I feel pretty confident to talk about it. It's not because I'm a psychiatrist or psychologist or anything. I'm just a simple soldier and a simple school principal. However, I am working on my doctorate, and I appreciate my parents and other people out there who are already starting to call me doctor, but it's still a little yet premature because I still have to finish my, the writing part, the actual dissertation topic of my study, which is perfect for this month because the topic of my study is school-based mental health. So, like I said, I'm not a psychologist, but I think I'm fairly good about what's going on, what happens in schools, whether it be public, private, it makes no difference. Kids are kids, and the emotional things we have to talk about. So let's first talk about what's social emotional learning or mental health, school-based, or mental health in general, and school-based in particular. What that's all about is it's talking about, it's looking at as kids, as students, as a whole person, not just about academics or not just about sports or clubs or anything. It's like students as a whole, because we have them good 6-7 hours a day. But one thing I've learned over time as a teacher and administrator, that kids bring a lot with them to school. Okay, and most of the time, a lot of it has nothing to do with education, and that's where the relationship building comes in. For yes, I'm like trying to look over the camera. So that's where the relationship building comes in to kind of help break down those barriers to help students overcome any kind of emotional or any kind of mental health issue they might have. And that's not to say, we're talking about people who need to go see a professional psychiatrist or something. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about everyday life. That on top of being a student, you have all this other stuff you have to worry about life. And like I said before, this COVID is compounding it. So what are we talking about there? So we are fortunate at our school because with my experience, I've learned that kids need somebody to talk to. Going back to that relationship thing. So we have three people that students could really talk to here at South Providence if they need it. One, I think I know most of my students, at least the ones who were with me last year, and then our new students will get to know her. We are fortunate to have Dr. Rebecca Capel. And Dr. Capel, for those who don't know, she actually is a doctor because she has her PhD, and she is a full-fledged mental health expert. Okay, she's a mental health counselor that all students have an opportunity talk to if need be, because that's why I hired her, because my experience showed that kids need somebody to talk to in school. And although God bless them, guidance counselors are great people.
And
Well, I was getting ready to say, and God, they're great people, and they are overwhelmed with the amount of work they have to do. Not only Mr. Jost at Apprentice Academy, but all guidance counselors in every high school and the lower schools as well. They have so much to do that it's not that they don't want to talk to kids about what's on their minds. Unfortunately, they don't have the time, and probably if they had the opportunity, that's all they would do, because that's what they're there for. They're for kids and to help them through problems. But that's what I learned across time, that they don't have the time to do it. So I realized we got to have someone who specializes in that. And now I like to say, it's all the rage. You hear everyone talking about, like I said, this SEL and, there needs to be guidance counselors on staff, mental health counselors on staff. Well, we already have one, because I knew, I'm not patting myself on the back, but I am, because I knew we needed one. And really, you can't find any better than Dr. Capel, and any student who's worked with her knows that. In fact, if you ever come to visit South, God forbid, if you ever come to visit Apprentice Academy, and you want to see the office that has the most kids in it, it's her. Yeah, she has kids sometimes just hanging out in there, sometimes talking to her. Why? Because they feel comfortable being in that environment, because she sets it up that way, because she, better than anybody, understands how important it is to get beyond school and give kids a free and open space to confide in her, confide in others, and have that free environment. So that they're able to perform better at school and the jobs, and in other places. And I just want to stop for a second to see if there's any questions out there for me before I go on. Or
no, but we do have some people watching. So hey, everybody,
okay. Hey,
if
everybody.
you have any questions, either on topic, which is school mental health, or about the school itself, please feel free to post them in the comments, and we will have Principal Rouse answer them.
Yes, I would definitely do that. But in the meantime, I'll kind of continue with this discussion about social emotional learning and mental health. So for that student to be ready to learn, we need to make sure we're addressing, as I said before, that whole student. Yes, and that whole and the biggest part of that, or a large part of that, is what the student is going through at home, and we provide, as I mentioned earlier, because I'm repeating kind of the same things, because people are coming in and out of this discussion as their time permits. So one of the ways we do that is, again, through Dr. Capel. She provides that. But we also have another way of doing it. We do
have a question specifically on that. So let's go ahead and talk about that. How do you set up an appointment with Dr. Capel?
Excellent question. Well, it's done two ways. You can, students or parents at any time could always email Dr. Capel. That's a formal way of doing it. But the way, and under COVID, that's really how we'd have to do it, because she's not in the building full time. But she is always available to students and parents, on the online version. Like she has conducted Zoom calls.
And that was one of the questions. Will Zoom conference work?
Yes. In fact, she has done it. She's been doing it. She'll continue to do it, because right now, that's really, again, that's the only way we could do it under COVID. So I guess that's another topic. How have we adopted our mental health counseling? Well, we have, just like my teachers have to adapt and adopt. So does the non-teaching faculty. So Dr. Capel, she has done that. She uses Zoom to contact students, and students have done like they've always done. They email her, or what's the other one? The direct message. They do those kind of things. So she's been in contact with many students. So if you're out there and your child needs someone to talk to, other than a parent, because sometimes we need. I mean, that's what it's there for. Because you need someone to talk to sometimes who's not a parent or an adult that you know. So yeah, I would just email her, get a time for her to talk to you one-on-one, or she can always hold group sessions if everyone's having kind of the same issues, to talk everybody through it. So she is very, very good. So that's one aspect of our, and I hope I answered that question for the audience.
Yes. We do have another question, but
Okay.
it's slightly off topic, so I'll let you
Okay.
finish up here, and then we will circle back, Michelle, to your question.
Okay, and another aspect of this social emotional learning that the term doesn't sound like it works, but it does when we talk about our student discipline and our student philosophy. Nationwide, you'll hear this thing called restorative practices or restorative justices. There's a lot of myth and there's about what it is and what it isn't. Some people, there's folks out there who think, oh, it's kind of this touchy-feely thing that we don't, if we have a restorative practices or restorative justice, students don't get disciplined. Well, that's the farthest thing from the truth. Anyone who's known me for a while knows Mr. Ross is a law and order kind of guy, but he also provides what his students need before they ever have to set foot in my office or Mrs. Dr. Kenner's office. So that's what those restorative practices is. And the person who's responsible for it at our school, although Dr. Capel has her hand in it full time, but the person who runs it day to day is actually our science teacher, our upper level science teacher, Mr. Seth Johnson. He is the restorative practices coordinator at our school. And what that is our discipline philosophy we use at here at Apprentice Academy. What it really means is that things that the most discipline that school administrators have to deal with are not the big things that you would think. Things like fighting or drugs or all the crazy stuff. Actually, most of the discipline that goes on in school is what we call is like a classroom disruption. In other words, there's some break in a relationship between a teacher and a student. And what this restorative practices does, it tries to address that issue and rebuild that trust. Because somewhere along the line, trust was broken. Okay, and this is what we would do on every day in a practice at school. But again, under COVID, how schools are trying, so how do you adapt this kind of restorative practices to work in a COVID world and online? Well, I think we have something now that parents and students are probably familiar with. Every Friday morning, your advisory teacher has what we call circles, and hopefully you guys are attending that. And what the circle time is, that is an opportunity for students to express themselves in a group setting, and it's in a setting matter where it's not it's not a place for you to feel threatened about saying what's on your mind. It's a place where whatever's on your mind, whatever topic, and there's a lot of topics nowadays for kids to talk about, whether it be COVID, whether it be the social, the perceived social injustices that are going on out there in the world, all these kind of things that bother students. They don't know how to express it properly. During our circle time on Friday mornings, that's an opportunity for students to talk about and elaborate it, and that's the kind of thing that Mr. Johnson facilitates, not only for his own advisory, but for other teachers. And wrapping back around to Dr. Capel, if things really get heavy and this group is not enough to make you feel better or something, that's where you could tie back into Dr. Capel, and she provides the more formal training and formal expertise on how to overcome those kind of things. So I'll stop again to see if there's any questions out there.
There are some questions. There are off this topic.
That's fine.
Okay, cool. First one is, any plans of opening up more?
Excellent question. The direct answer to that today, the short answer is no. We're sticking with our Plan C plus. There's a couple of the number one reason is because our choices are limited based on the governor's orders. And B, we as we originally had a plan to go with Plan B, but it just didn't work because you have to have they say it didn't work because I didn't have enough staff to be able to work it, so I can't. So that's one reason we didn't have one is enough staff to be in the building at all times, and also for those of you who've been with me a while, how our building is not that large, and for those of you new to us, I'm telling you, if you haven't been to our building yet, it's not a very large building. It's like 29,000 square feet, but really probably for actual instruction, probably 22,000 of it is really usable space. So to try to logistically make make it work in, in the Plan B environment where, students are 6 feet apart, they're separated in the hallways. Any of my students who are coming under our Plan C plus, where where there's just 9 students in a classroom, they could tell you how hard it is just with the 36 kids we have in the building at any one time. So,
well, let's talk about that a little
Yeah.
bit. So, students can make an appointment to come in
absolutely.
to the school. For what reasons?
Well, and we've been doing this since the beginning of the year. So, the instruction we're and right now the term we're using, you hear about there is, there's the remote learning, which is what we're doing most of the time, and then what we call the in-person learning. Those are the 2 big terms you hear nationwide and all over the news about how learning is going on. So the in-person learning part there's 3 components to it. One is for math, English, and then for our students with IEPs. So those students, so we hold those classes Monday through Thursday from 9 to 12. And so if you need face-to-face work with your teacher, on our website, there's an ability for you to go ahead and sign up for those classes. And and like I said, for each day in math or English, there's 9. There's actually 18 slots per, because there's 2 math teachers and two English teachers. So we have a total of 36 slots you can sign that are available each day. But remember, you can't sign up for both. So you're coming to school either for math instruction or English, but not both. So we don't switch in between, because the teacher is teaching you the full 3 hours, or as much of that 3 hours as we can get going, to work on that. And then if you have an IEP, that's a separate sign up. You're working with the special education department on needs, and that's all based on student IEPs. So it's similar in the fact you have to sign up for it, but it's different in the fact that the needs of the student are different.
Now, can a student sign up for math and IEP on the same day?
Yeah, that's something that. Excellent question. The immediate answer is no. Why? Because if it's an IEP related question, they need to work with their IEP teacher. So I would not foresee them directly signing up for math class without first having a conversation, talking to their IEP teacher, because there's things that have to be done in connection with that.
Okay. Next question. And this is coming from Becca Collins. Will the school website be up tomorrow? Now, I went on aahsnc.org. That seems to be up and running. I'm assuming that Becca's talking about the internal site that the kids go to. Is there something else?
I don't know. I'm confused. I'm not sure what she's asking me. There's the curriculum the students use. It's called the Peak platform, but that's something they have access to at home all the time. That's where they sign up for their classes. Now there is something else, and maybe she's talking about this, because we do have, so like this year we kind of changed our curriculums, and hopefully by now we're a month into, more than a month into school now, everybody understands. So there's the Peak platform. That's like the online textbook that teachers use to deliver instruction. But then there's another program we have, because we have some students that are taking all online courses, and those courses are not taught by Apprentice Academy teachers. They're taught by the Fuel Ed K-12 teachers. If you're talking about that, that is not part of Apprentice Academy's website. That is a direct communication between the student and their teacher. But if they're stuck, we could help them, but there's a difference.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So she says, yes, her son, Matthew McCarter, hasn't been receiving his class assignments. Now, how can she reach out for help?
Well, I'm just going to say right now, because on their end, there may be some challenges. Just have Matthew email Dr. Kenner, Mrs. Kenner directly, and she will get him squared away. Or at least get him, if she can't do it, she'll get him directed to the person. But yeah, if you have any of those kind of problems, Mrs. Kenner is the one to talk to about that.
Okay. Yes. And indeed, she was talking about the K through 12.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Okay. That it takes us to the end of the questions. We will call out one more time, and I see you are not actually. You have a coffee cup in your hand.
I do.
I
Keep
don't
calm and carry on.
And
Isn't that serendipitous?
I don't think you actually have coffee in that
No,
coffee
I've got-
mug.
Yeah, I gotta let my dog out. I'll be right back in this. So, because we are in my house. So, and Carmel needs to go out. Anyone who has and loves dogs knows what it's all about. They run the show. So there's coffee with the principal. But Sharon and I, my wife, we go to coffee at Crossroads Coffee House in the mornings on the weekend. So and we did that earlier this morning. So I came home and I decided to go with some tea. The irony, though, is now I'm gonna go to the historian that I am. Here's the interesting part. I have an English cup, but English cup, which is holding Irish tea. I'll just leave it at that. Anyone who has Irish English ancestry gets it. Irish tea in an English cup. That's Firebrand coffee right there this morning. Anyway, that's my history joke for the morning. So,
we do have another question coming in from Katie. I'm not going to say your middle name. I'm going to try Kostovic Letcher.
Mm-hmm.
She's when we reach phase 3.
Yes.
Will we return to school full time? And thank you for what you're doing with these video updates.
Oh, you're welcome. The short answer to the question is absolutely. Me, the staff, the kids, we're all waiting to go back. So as soon as the governor makes that order, allows us to go back. And guys, believe me, it's not my choice, as you well know. We have to abide by the governor's order, and so we're going to get back as soon as we can. But I do want to give one caveat. It's also got to make sense because it's hard to believe that about when we could possibly end. We just got started, but we always have to think where we are. So this first semester ends just before we go out for the winter/Christmas break, which is December 21st. So if the governor says, hey, we can come back to school tomorrow or whatever, then we can make the transition easy. If he says, we can come back to, school in October, November, it's going to make sense. But I hope you would agree with me. If he waits till December 15th to say, hey, you can come back to school, I don't know if I don't know if it makes much sense to come back to school for a week just to go back out again for the winter break. But anyway, I hope that might have been a long way to answer the question. We're going to get back as soon as we can. Makes sense. But I also want you to realize if he makes the decision way too late in the semester, I just think might be more of a disruption than it's worth. And I'm like you. I'm hoping it's much sooner than it's looking like right now. So.
All right, good stuff.
Yeah.
We do have a question. Will you be doing this, meaning the coffee talk, all the time? That's an excellent segue to.
Yes, that's a great question. Yes, we will. This is
not weekly though.
No, not weekly. As you can tell, I'm great at a lot of things. Marketing, I may not be great. I'm getting better at it, but you realize we got to have these to get them out there. And again, a positive thing from COVID is man, we've all had to get online. So, which included me. So it's easy to get the message out this way. So we're going to kind of look to have these things twice a month. One with either just myself or maybe Mrs. Kenner, either just one of us doing a generalized talk like this. And then, but then we're going to have another one during the month, also called a principal, coffee with the principal, but I'm not going to be the person doing all the talking. So this is a good way to kind of move from what we're doing now, talking about the importance of social emotional learning and the importance of giving students, helping them with their mental health. As I close out this one, to next week we have another coffee talk. Okay, and that's going to be specific to what's going on in South Providence. I'm sorry for saying that was my old school. When I was, Apprentice Academy. Sometimes, I'm getting older, so sometimes I forget which.
Perhaps you need some coffee.
Or perhaps I need some coffee. Or maybe it's the Irish tea in my English cup. I don't know, whatever it is. But no, excuse me, Apprentice Academy, and so we're going to have 2 guests on next week. And actually, I'm not going to be the leading guest. The lead guest or leading the the talk will be Mr. Matthew Hadley. And Mr. Hadley is our newest board member. He's really excited to be part of the Apprentice Academy. And
Well, I think that's great and awesome, but I think there's the other one is super special as
yes,
well.
and also and the other one, the other person on the board is going to be Mr. Crable, or AKA Chef. So Chef is going to be on board, so you could ask him questions and he could talk about what's going on with the culinary arts program, because I'm not going to steal any of his thunder.
So don't.
I'm not going to. But all I can tell you,
Tune in
and be excited about it, because there's some great stuff going on. So when we do return to school, oh man, whether you're going to be culinary arts or not, I don't care. You're still going to be excited about what you see coming back to school. But I'm not going to steal his thunder. So please, even if you're not interested in culinary arts, as part of the school, tune in, listen, learn what's going on, because it's going to start with culinary arts, and so every month, and just when to tune in, because when we interview special guests like the chef, it is actually the week of a board meeting. So the board of directors meeting is on Monday, the 21st. So our principal meeting coffees will be that Saturday before. So that's why we're gonna have it on the what's that day? The 19th, 2021. Yeah. So it's the 19th. So please tune in to hear what Chef's got to say. Trust me, everyone's going to be excited, whether they're in culinary arts or not. So unless anyone's got any other questions, and remember, stay physically healthy and mentally healthy. And if you need some help, contact Dr. Capel or contact Mr. Johnson, and you will get what you need.
With that.
Okay. And with that, everyone have a great day. And if you're still watching football, go Panthers. Yes. Matt Rule's debut. Remember that. So there we go. Thanks, everybody.